Between 264 and 202 BC, Rome and Carthage fought for the future of the ancient world. Out of that long war came three of history's greatest strategists, and one duel between two families. A father who built an empire for a war he would never live to see. A son who fought the most perfect battle ever waged, and still could not win it. And the Roman who beat them both, by studying the man everyone else was too afraid to understand. This is the story of the Punic Wars, told through the strategies that decided them. He fought a stronger enemy for 6 years and never lost a battle. Then his own country lost the war around him and ordered him to surrender. What he did next is the real lesson. Carthage and Rome were at war over Sicily, and Carthage was losing. Into that collapsing war it sent one general, Hamilcar Barca, with a small force and almost no support from home. He knew he could not beat Rome's legions in a straight fight, so he refused to give them one. He took a mountain, the Peak of Eryx, a fortress of rock he supplied from the sea. From up there he did not defend. He raided. He came down on the Roman siege lines at dawn, struck, and vanished back up the slope before they could answer. He landed on the coast of Italy itself, burned it, and was gone by morning. For 6 years the most powerful army in the world threw itself at that mountain and could not take it. His whole nation was collapsing around him, and on his patch of the war he simply could not be beaten. Then the message came. Carthage had lost its last fleet. The war was over. Hamilcar, undefeated, was ordered to make peace with the enemy he had never lost to. This is where most brilliant men break. He did not. He accepted the retreat because the war was already decided and there was no honor in burning his men on it. And then he began building the next one. He took an army to Spain and built Carthage a new empire from nothing, silver to fund it, soldiers loyal to his family. He was not rebuilding what was lost. He was laying a foundation for a war he knew he would never live to finish. And he built a successor. Before he sailed, he took his 9-year-old son to the altar and had the boy swear one oath, never to be a friend of Rome. That son was Hannibal. That is strategic resilience, and it is rare. Winning where you stand means nothing if the larger game is already lost. Knowing when to stop spending yourself on a decided fight is its own kind of genius. The strong move is not to go down swinging. It is to pull your strength out intact and pour it into something that outlasts you. You may not win the war you are in. You can still build the one that finally gets won. Don't burn your strength on a lost fight. Build the one that wins later. A boy once swore to his father he would never be a friend of Rome. 20 years later he kept that oath, by trapping and destroying the largest army Rome had ever put in the field. His name was Hannibal, son of Hamilcar. He inherited his father's army, his father's base in Spain, and his father's war, and he opened it with something that looked insane. He marched an army with war elephants over the Alps as the snows came, and came down into Italy from the one direction Rome believed was impossible. He beat them and beat them again. Crossing a flooded marsh, an infection took the sight of one of his eyes. He kept marching. So in 216 BC, Rome built a monster to end him. An army of around 80,000 men, nearly double his own, sent to crush him on a plain called Cannae. Outnumbered almost 2 to 1, Hannibal did not try to hold the line. He made his center weak on purpose. He pushed his thinnest troops forward into a bulge and let it slowly bend backward. The huge Roman army poured into that sagging middle, smelling the breakthrough, packing tighter and tighter as it pushed. Which was the trap. While Rome drove into the center, Hannibal's best troops held the edges, and his cavalry shattered the Roman horse and swung all the way around the back. Then the bulge that had bent inward closed. 80,000 Romans found themselves surrounded on every side, crushed so tight they could barely swing a blade. Their own size, their own momentum, had carried them into the trap and sealed it behind them. That is the move. When the other side is bigger and charging hard, do not meet the charge. Give it what it thinks it wants. Let its strength and its confidence carry it too far, then close around the overreach. A bigger opponent's greatest asset, its size, its aggression, its certainty, is also the thing you can turn against it. You do not have to be the stronger one. You have to make their strength work for you. Hannibal would not win the war in the end. But at Cannae, he built the most perfect battle ever fought, and 2,000 years later, armies still study it. Don't fight their strength, turn it against them. Everyone who faced Hannibal lost. One Roman survived his worst defeat, then spent years learning from the man who beat him and used it to end him. His name was Scipio. As a young officer, he lived through Cannae, the massacre where Hannibal trapped and destroyed a Roman army twice its size. Rome was shattered, but where everyone else saw a monster, Scipio saw a teacher. He studied everything Hannibal did, the cavalry, the traps, the way he turned an enemy's own strength against them. And he reached one conclusion the rest of Rome had missed. You could not beat Hannibal by fighting Hannibal in Italy, where he had never lost. So Scipio refused to. Instead, he went after everything Hannibal stood on. He sailed to Spain and took the Embers-and-Empire, the base Hamilcar had spent his life building, and tore it out by the roots. Then he did the unthinkable. He invaded Africa and threatened Carthage itself, which forced Carthage to call Hannibal home to defend it. Now Hannibal had to fight on Scipio's terms. At Zama, Scipio beat him with Hannibal's own playbook. He opened lanes in his ranks to let the war elephants charge through into nothing. He won the cavalry fight, and he sent his horsemen around the rear, the exact trap Hannibal had sprung at Cannae, now closing on Hannibal himself. The master, beaten by his own method. That is the move most people are too proud to make. When someone outclasses you, you can resent them, or you can study them. Scipio took the man who terrified the world and treated him as the best teacher alive. He did not copy blindly. He learned the principle, refused to fight on the enemy's ground, and beat the best there was by understanding him better than anyone ever had. To beat the best, study the best. 3 men, 1 war. Hamilcar built the foundation. Hannibal built the perfect victory. Scipio made himself into the one man who could study them both and win, and the lesson each of them leaves is the same. The fight in front of you is never the whole war.